My name is Sean Baugh. I'll be your Master of Ceremonies for today. I'm the Program Manager for Agriculture and Industrial Development at the CARICOM Secretariat. First, let me take the opportunity to welcome everybody, His Excellency, President Irfan Ali of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, and also the lead head for agriculture in the CARICOM cabinet. Ladies and gentlemen, I think today is a great day as we are launching what is called the Regional Economic Agri-Insurance Program, REAP for short. And I think this is a milestone for us here in the region, given the recent events, given the importance of food security, given the importance of our farmers and our agri-sector. I want to take the opportunity to also welcome our specially invited guests, members of the Diplomatic Corps, honorable ministers who are here from the Cabinet of Guyana, and others. Minister Mustafa is here, who is the chairman of the Special Task Force on Food Security and Food Production. And this is one of the dictates of the heads of government that we had to ensure that we are able to de-risk the sector, to create the environment that's investor friendly. I think this product allows us to do that. And just before we go to the video that will be shown, I think it's important to note that this is a very collaborative effort that has brought us here today. And it's a shining example of private sector working with government and regional institutions. And we have a lot of specially invited guests, too much to call out everyone. But those who would have contributed in terms of doing the feasibility study, those who would have contributed in terms of liaising and meeting with the stakeholders, the various companies, and that's why we're here today. So we're going to see a video now. Are we ready?
The government of Barbados has identified the top raw products on the food import list, which can be readily grown on island. These are broccoli, onions, carrots, lettuce, cauliflower, celery and cabbage, sweet peppers, tomatoes, watermelons, pumpkins and cantaloupe, representing approximately $10 million of imports to the island annually. In Barbados, the first goal was to address the critical issue of access to water for primary producers in a number of key districts and to re-establish or expand agricultural production in areas which have fallen dormant over time. To this end, the government launched a water augmentation project which targeted the construction of large water irrigation water to farmers, an oftentimes scarce and inconsistent resource, but indispensable for increased production. The first pond was established at the River Plantation in St. Philip, and this was formally opened in June 2022. The Browns Pond catchment holds 6 million gallons of surface water. It transformed a natural depression into an ultra-modern irrigation distribution network. The second catchment was established at Lair's Plantation in St. Michael. This 21 million gallon catchment is designed to serve approximately 75 acres of prime agricultural lands, which have largely fallen into disuse over the last decade. As we continue to forge ahead, other future initiatives include the development of a commercial aquaculture sector. The Barbados Agriculture Development Marketing Corporation is in the final stages of a pilot giant freshwater prawn project, exploring a new and potentially transformative segment of aquaculture for this island. Other initiatives to come in the next 18 months include the increased use of mechanization in the sector, such as onions, increased varietal testing to provide crops that are more pest tolerant and able to handle the local environment, the use of tissue cultural material sweet potatoes, yams, cassava, to provide clean planting material for farmers.
It is really my pleasure to ask you to stand to welcome, to address us, His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana and our Chair for Food Security in the CARICOM region.
Thank you very much. Please have your seats. Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great honor to be part of this event today. Our brother from Lynch fulfilled completely the mandate of insurance companies. That is, the carving of the tongue to produce sweet melody. As you know, people in the insurance company are very good communicators and marketing people. And you have not failed the audience today at all. We have among ourselves here even a local tongue twister in marketing and long-standing insurance broker here too. I want to recognize some very important partners of the region. You have just recognized some of them. But I want to single out FAO and ICA for the tremendous work that they have been doing, not only in helping us to mitigate challenges and build infrastructure, but they've been doing some very important technical work in preparing the ground for the type of sector we want to build in the future. I want to also say that very early after Hurricane Beryl, I made a few comments on the impact for the region, for Vision 25 by 2025, but more importantly, the situation farmers were placed at, and governments, because governments are faced with tremendous difficulties after these challenging situations. Even in Guyana, in 2005, we lost 60% of our GDP with a flood in one event. And that is just looking at the impact on agriculture. But when you have healthcare, education, community life, and infrastructure disrupted, it also means that government must now redirect resources they may have for agriculture and to support agriculture for these critical infrastructure. And sometimes we don't pay enough emphasis on that cost. In the business world, we will say it is lost opportunity, or it is where you forego one opportunity because of a prevailing priority. So many of the countries that are affected by Beryl may have had X amount of resources to invest in agriculture that must now be redirected to other sectors that are key and critical, like health and education and so on. Agriculture is also very key and critical. But governments are faced with these very difficult decisions when we go through these, and no one better than Dr. Cox here will be able to tell you about the modeling, the economic modeling. So it's not only the financial impact. Many times people focus on the financial impact, but it's the whole economic modeling that is disrupted when we have these challenges. So as we build back, we have to build back with the future in sight. And, you know, in Grenada, just before Beryl, we started a project because Guyana is supporting the building of massive greenhouses, shade houses, and hydroponics facility throughout the region. And we started to build one of these facilities in Grenada just before Beryl. And I think that the facility was given a good test, and we were very pleased that at the end, the facility, the shade house, withstood those winds, as the manufacturers would have said, and showed us that maybe the thinking of the region is in the right direction in building this resilience and ensuring that our high-value production chain has an added layer of protection. And that is also important when we speak to the insurance issues and so on. But what is sustainability and resilience? We speak a lot about sustainability and resilience in the agricultural sector. What really is this sustainability and resilience? What constitutes sustainability and resilience? And how we are building our system to reflect sustainability and resilience. And there are a few key points that I want to make. For example, sustainability and resilience must bring into account research and development. For too long, we have made decisions without data. We have made decisions without having the right research on soil type, on looking at what is the best possible utilization of land, best possible utilization of our waters. So research and development is a critical part of this whole infrastructure and ecosystem that supports sustainability and resilience. And with ICA and FAO and US aid to some extent, we are working on building out this research capability, this research and development capability to support decision making, to support policy making, and more importantly, to support the viability of product and plans. Because if we can back a business plan with good research data, then we make it easier for the farmers to have access to the banking sector. And just so to tell you how important this is, 3 years ago, 2.5, 3 years ago, we said that we will work with the banks on a facility to support farmers, $100 million US. At that time, when we went back, worked backwards, there was not a single mega project or a single business plan ready for financing from the entire private sector in the region. So we started working on grains, for example, in Guyana. And now we have a project that is fully financed. We have competition to get into the grains production market. The government has supported with infrastructure, with building out the storage facility, the war facility. We're now putting in the roads. And by 2026, by the end of 2025, we will save tens of millions of US dollars on the importation of grains, be fully self-sufficient on grains, backward integrate that into feed production, and then forward integrate that into regional security on meat, on poultry. We have even gone a step further. Because of the successes of that, now we are looking at establishing a feed mill for aquaculture, not for Guyana, but support the region, and this will bring down the cost of feed for aquaculture by almost 50%. So this is a type of integration and investment that takes a bit of time, but justifies to the banking system the practicality and the viability of agribusiness and agri-investment. Another example is just traveling. I was fortunate to sit next to two of the largest importers in the region of two things we consume every day. At least I consume it every day almost: black eye beans and red beans. And I was shocked at the volume of black eye and red beans that we were importing in the region. And we set ourselves a basic target. And we now are in a position that by, I would say, the first quarter next year, maximum the first half of next year, we will produce all our black eye and red beans that is required here in Guyana and save that import. And by the end of 2026, corn, soya, black eye, red beans will be fully sustainable in the whole CARICOM region. So that the next vertical that has tremendous potential for us, and I want to compliment all our technical people who are working, is hatching eggs. How do we move from a position of importing all the hatching eggs in the region and be susceptible to the inflation, to the pests, and everything? So there are a number of things that must be done, including building out of the phytosanitary facilities, the lab facility that we're working on. But importantly, is owning the idea. So I've given our livestock people and our technical people a mandate to work with the local private sector so that within 3 years, we must be able to produce all our hatching eggs here, and within 4 years, we must be able to take control of the regional market for hatching eggs. So these are the things I think that would make big difference in the vertical, that will create new opportunities. But you have to be bold in thinking. We have been able to increase the yield for cassava by just research, just investing in research and development, researching in product, and ICA, FOS worked with us, but ICA has been strong with us on this, bringing in a new variety. We have increased production yield per acre by 100%. By 100%. Just investing in science, research and developing and finding the right variety. So these are the things that we have increased the production of cassava to an extent now. Years ago, we were experimenting with cassava flour, but we never had enough production to support it. We have increased production now to the extent that we have enough production to justify a full cassava flour mill in the country at industrial scale. But more importantly, we want that cassava flour mill to do two things. One, product differentiation. You can have 100% cassava flour, or you can have 50-50. And it goes to niche market internationally, but also bring back the nutritional value of what you eat. So that's another, in a year time, we are hoping that we can have that facility ready and to support all the farmers so that we have now an added value to the cassava that we are producing. So research and development is critical. And I'm just showing you how we are working in terms of getting the research. You know, we have worked with Costa Rica. We are working on rebuilding the cocoa and coffee industry here in Guyana. And we have done the soil analysis, the research, all the technical work to the extent now where we have identified a particular region for the regrowth of cocoa and coffee. And that would give us enough capability to put down a processing facility and have self-sufficiency and also look at some niche markets. So the other issue is data and science. The region lacked data. So we are working now with ICA, and Guyana is financing a regional situation room, a center of excellence, and a data facility. Now, we have already set aside resources for this. We are building this situation room and this data center. It's a national data center, but it's a regional data center that would house progressive data, that is historical data, current data, but will also do the analysis on future trends. Now, the center of excellence that is linked to the data room and the situation room will be linked to farmers directly. So by an app, the farmers can open up and see what the next 20 days look like based on the analysis. We also have, if a farmer report a pest in the region, we can do tracking, traceability. We can do education program through the Center of Excellence in the Situation Room and data. So the data center is more geared towards data analytics. Well, not data analytics, information analytics. And using the information, use the analytics, and give recommendations to farmers. So that's another big area, data and science. And I'm giving you the example. When people say, what are we doing in agriculture? It's not a talk shop. These are actual examples of what is ongoing. We are working. We have already set aside the resources. ICA, we have already have the model that we are using. In this, the Center of Excellence is dedicated to the region. We have already investing in infrastructure. We have scholarships for St. Vincent, Grenada. Now we'll be sending some students. And we have committed to training 20 agricultural extension officers and other technical people in the Center of Excellence that we are building in Guyana. But we don't just want to build a center of excellence. We're working with ICA and FAO, especially ICA, to ensure that the center of excellence becomes a regional center, ICA center, that has the certification of ICA, so that we have a greater weight on the time you spend at the center and the type of qualifications that comes out of the center. Technology. Technology is also very important. We are now moving, for example, in Guyana, we have committed ourselves to sugar for regional security and national security. But the modern production process requires technology. We have converted almost, 60% now of our land? 60% of our land to mechanization for planting and also for harvesting. So we're looking to move towards 100% mechanization, and this will not only reduce costs of production, but it will increase productivity and increase yield. We have also done some research, and we are bringing in new variety of cane. So you're moving from an industry that was shut down 3 years ago to by the end of 2025, an industry that will produce back, I would say, close to 160,000 tons of sugar. Now, we also are looking at the forward vertical, working with the private sector. We already have a proposal on hand for the refining, because as we bring up back the production, brown sugar market is a good market, but it's a reducing market. So we have to have the refined sugar. And we are working with the private sector on the establishment of a refinery to have what you term the white sugar, but the refined sugar, and also looking at the possibility of liquid sugar. So these are some of the things that we are looking at. Important to this also is how we can look at an experiment on organic sugar to see how organic sugar is a niche market that carries a different pricing mechanism. So these are some of the things. When we talk about technology, it's not only deploying technology, deploying a drone, it's what is linked to, what value it will create, what opportunity it will create, what market the technology will help you to access. Now, it also reduces risk. If technology cannot reduce the risk for farmers, then it's not worth investing in. So if we have these shade house and hydroponic house that can give you all the high value crops and at the same time reduce the risk and vulnerability for farmers, and it is proven that it reduces the risk and vulnerability for farmers, then it is worth investing in. The capital costs may be higher upfront, but the long-term benefit, as we are seeing already in Guyana. Those of you who have time should look at the Monrepo model. We are now moving a step ahead. How do we integrate livelihood program with the technology? So we are launching the Forest Homestead Agriculture Program, especially with single mothers. And what we are doing, we are building the low-income home. So we are getting the banks, the government already subsidized the low-income housing. We'll get the banks to finance a package that includes the low-income home. We'll have solar panels to power those homes, so it reduces their cost of energy. And then we'll have at the front of the homes, where people will normally plant a few trees, permanent crops that will give them revenue 4 to 5 years from now. If you have 5 coconut plants, hybrid coconut plants in a year that will give you yield in 3 years, you will be surprised to see the value it creates. And then at the back of the yard, we will put a small shade house that is dedicated. So you'll have 500 homes on 100 acres of land and 500 shade house dedicated to a specific product that we link to the market. And that product would be able, annually, when you reap and get the value, to repay that low-income loan every month. So this is how we're going to integrate the livelihood program with technology and also home ownership at the same time. So you're solving a number of issues, adding to food security, you're adding to sustainability and resilience, you're adding to home ownership, you're adding to building community wealth and household wealth, you're increasing the welfare and empowering 500 families, most of whom will be single mothers, and you give them a sense of pride, and there's no value to that. So it is how not only the deployment of technology, but how technology is linked to human transformation and community transformation. Then, of course, the other variable in this sustainability and resilience plan is financial instruments. And today, we are exploring an important financial instrument, insurance, that has been lacking for farmers in the region. But we have to support the instrument with all that I'm talking about to reduce the cost of the instrument. Because if the cost of the instrument is inhibitive, then we are just marking time. So it is a collaborative effort that is needed to ensure that the pricing of the instrument is in keeping with the affordability of the system. So in financial instruments also is how do we incentivize the lending to farmers and also the capitalization of agriculture. And this is important. If we say that the average corporate tax or the average tax on profit from the financial system is what, 20%, 25%, and we say that if you lend to the agricultural sector, those profits from those loans are tax-free, then it's an incentive that we're looking at. So we have to look at how we incentivize the system to support the building of capital and the capitalization of the food and agricultural sector. So that is work in progress, and it requires some dedicated effort. Human resource strengthening and technical capability and capacity. University of West Indies has been doing some amazing work. FAO, USAID, and ICA has also been doing some amazing work on the strengthening of our human resource capacity. We need extension officers. We don't need extension officers in offices in AC. That's not what will support the growth of the agricultural sector. And for too long, we have trained out of university agricultural experts and specialists who believe that they need a tie and AC and an office. That's not extension work. Extension work is getting out there with the people, supporting the people, and supporting the system. That is extension work. So we need to train our human resource, the human resource capacity to be relevant to the situation. Not masters and PhDs are all good, but the relevance of the training, the relevance of what we are doing to what we want to achieve is key and critical. Now, sometimes these are very difficult conversations because people can say, oh, but you have to be practical. You have to be practical. If we know that we are going to go into poultry, and I met some young graduates from the Guyana School of Agriculture from universities, and I said to them, I don't want you to be looking for jobs in an office. So the first thing we have to do is fix that. If you're doing any program you're doing at the university, should have one complete course on entrepreneurship. Because you're coming out of universities to help build wealth and create wealth. Not just to look. So I met these youngsters and I said to them, we are going to help you to develop businesses. So we're going to have lands that have all the infrastructure. We're going to work with you on getting financing to put down hydroponics house. You just have to manage it. So let us take, for example, prawn production. We have now, and this is what we're doing now. We are testing the model to prove it to the financial system that is viable and profitable. So we're doing prawns production now on the size of one of the pond is an acre. And when you look at the value that pond will give you, it will give you approximately at the end of the year about 40,000 US dollars. That one pond, a net situation. So just imagine if we were able to bring 20 of them together and have 5, 6 of these ponds, and they manage it, and they deploy their skills that they got from university, they manage it, we give them some training in entrepreneurship, we link it to the market, you have an entire business. You're creating wealth. But sometimes we are under this misguided approach that you know, out of the university is into an office. So we need to be practical about how we address these issues and situations, and we have to change our habits too. We have some habits in the region that we'll have to change. And, you know, and I'll give you another example, not to belabor the point. But if you look at university students across the world, you go to most restaurants in the US or wherever, most of the service staff are those attending university. You go to whether it's Costco, students, because they have to do it. It became part of the culture. Here we sometimes, our young people sometimes don't see the value of it and sometimes believe because of how we portray it is demeaning. But that's totally not the case. So we have to have some very honest conversation on how we deploy our human resources that is already limited in nature. There are some other issues on sustainability and resilience that I'll just briefly touch that we're investing in. We're investing to support a regional seed bank because we need to have a regional seed bank. If we say tomorrow, the entire cocoa industry is wiped out, just like what took place with nutmeg from one single event, do we have the trees ready to build back that industry? No. Just to get the planting material will take us 10 years. Whilst in places like Brazil, if you look at maybe one of their smallest nursery, may have 200,000 citrus plants ready. Already, you know, 6 months ready. And 18 months to 24 months you get fruit. So this is important, ensuring that we secure the future of the sector by having a regional seed bank, the regional germplasm facility, the regional nursery. So we are building a nursery now here that we want to support the entire citrus industry. So the nursery will have maybe 1 million plants, citrus, coconut, and so on. We have, for example, we have secured to build back the coconut industry about 4,000 acres of new land, of 6,000 acres in 4 years. We have replanted 6,000 acres of coconut in the country, 6,000 acres of coconut. And we have maybe close to 60,000 coconut seedling that we have here that is ready to be deployed. And we have been working with ICA, the opportunities are there on this. And I want to say that perhaps one of the things that we have been blessed with in Guyana is the type of leadership we have from FAO, ICA, USAID to support our local team. It has just been an amazing story of growth and development. You know, most people speak about oil, and oil dominates the headlines when you speak about Guyana. But when you look at what is taking place in agriculture and the transformation that is taking place in agriculture, it's an amazing story in just 4 years, and the story has now started. Then we also have the final thing I want to speak about is if we are exposed to such vulnerability, we have to rethink our strategy. We have to think about product differentiation. If we use the technology in hydroponics, how do we look at shorter cycle products with high value? How do we look at what the cruise ships, the tourism industry is using at the high value? So give the farmers, so while the farmers are farming the yam and the edo for national demand, we also have to give them a piece on their plot that look at high value, short rotation. And that is what will help cash flow, and that will also help current costs. So I just wanted to share some of these views, but also to compliment Lynch, the REAP program. I want to compliment CARICOM, and I want to single out the role CARICOM is playing. There has been a commitment, a strong dedication from the Secretariat, very focused work on food security. I think it's one of our bright spots, if I may say. Then the Ministerial Task Force, brilliantly led, but also the ministers working together. I don't think there are any group of ministers in the region that are more connected to each other than the ministers of agriculture. They They are working together. They are sharing information. Not even the ministers of foreign affairs, I dare say, are connected, are as connected to each other as the Minister of Agriculture. I have seen the work. They are very integrated. They have a common platform, and that is one of the first things. They are communicating with each other. They are talking. They are working together, and that is a major hurdle. If we can do that in all the sectors, we will see tremendous integration. And I want to say that today is a significant moment. You know, when we started this journey, just to find an insurance product that was interested in even looking at the issue was difficult. So we have now at least work that has started. What I would encourage now that you have formalize a product, to now open the wings and to invite throughout the region all the other brokers, all the other insurance companies who can be a part of this, so that we cover the entire region, and then we can even have further work on reducing the costs and making the accessibility easier. So thank you very much. I'm very, very proud of this moment that we are on a path, just like regional transport. I think we are close to a path, and very soon we will have a path. And these are matters that we have been working on for a very, very long time. So to the Ministerial Task Force, our regional and international partners, CARICOM, our Lynch, the brokers, the insurance sector, the financial sector, and our farmers, more importantly, I thank you, and I wish you all well as we celebrate this and mark this moment.
Sorry. Oh, shoot. Are you my way and kick me or something? But it's here, you know. By training. But.
Heads of governments of CARICOM have committed to reducing the region's large food import bill by 25% by 2025, formerly referred to as Vision 25 by 2025. This initiative uses CARICOM's agri-food systems strategy to guide the transformation of the region's agriculture sector, with special attention being given to priority crops and products such as poultry, corn, soya, meat, rice, and niche vegetables, which are highly imported products in the region. This initiative, being a long-term social and economic partnership between member states, the regional private sector, regional organizations, producer groups, development partners, and the civil society, outlines actions and critical areas of intervention to tackle the region's rising food import bill, improve intra-regional trade, and create wealth and economic opportunity for every CARICOM member state. Following the adoption of the Vision 25 by 2025 initiative, an initiative that was conceptualized by Guyana's President, His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali, the region has undoubtedly moved the concept from a vision to reality, with Guyana leading the way in the realization of the goals established for the region. The Special Ministerial Task Force on Food Production and Food Security, comprising ministers of agriculture from member states, continues to be highly active and has been guiding the implementation of Vision 25 by 2025 and the transformation of the agri-food system to one that is resilient, provides attractive and sustainable wealth creation opportunities for potential investors, and guarantees food and nutrition security for the member states. In its penultimate year, a more aggressive approach by CARICOM member states, fueled by the 25 by 2025 program, has resulted in a significant production increase. For 2023, the CARICOM MTF reported that the region had collectively achieved 70% of its target, with Guyana leading the way despite somewhat unfavorable weather conditions for most of that period. Positive strides have also been made as it relates to a number of the priority goals of the 25 by 2025 Vision Initiative, among which have been improving trade and private sector investment and involvement in the sector, investments in production, research, development, climate-smart adaptation, policy development and implementation to facilitate agri-food trade, strengthening of plans for improvements in transportation and logistics throughout the region, and deepening of actions towards the removal of trade barriers, thus improving access to markets. In terms of the production of food, CARICOM is now working on the establishment of food hubs, one of which is currently being constructed in Barbados. Another is to be constructed in Guyana, designed to be central clearinghouses for agricultural produce for trade within CARICOM and beyond. The government of Guyana has made significant strides in the advancement of mega projects such as the large-scale production of corn and soybean, a project that is set to make Guyana self-sufficient in the production of all the inputs to manufacture feed for the livestock sector. As this project develops, it is also expected to produce enough inputs to supply the region with raw and processed commodities necessary to support livestock development. State-of-the-art abattoirs are being constructed and are expected to be fully operational by the end of the second quarter of 2024, enabling Guyana to meet international standards in the production of beef and pork, mutton, and venison. A joint project between Guyana and Barbados has seen Barbados providing just under 1,000 blackbelly sheep, which will see the launch of a blackbelly brand that features a cross between the blackbelly breed and that of another to produce a meatier animal. Aquaculture farming has also been revolutionized, with Guyana now producing close to 100,000 kilograms of brackish water shrimp monthly, up from just 10,000 kilograms 2 years ago. Another project will see Guyana producing prawns for local and export markets, a project that will become operational by the end of May this year. In Guyana's hinterland, farmers have expanded their cultivation of spices such as ginger, turmeric, and black pepper, with production now moving upwards at a rapid rate. President Irfan Ali's Agricultural Innovation and Entrepreneurial Project for Guyana's youth has produced millions of dollars worth of high-value crops such as carrots, broccoli, cauliflower, and bell peppers, and is set to be expanded to every region of the country. The region has also advanced its efforts in the area of hydroponics, with Guyana leading the way with a US $15 million farm, Victoria Greens, established by a team of investors from Israel and the largest of its kind in the region. Another key area of advancement and growth has been the agro-processing industry, with more attention and investment being made in agro-processing facilities that are made available to farmers and agro-processors themselves at a subsidized cost. In Guyana, a total of 13 state-of-the-art agro-processing facilities have been established across the country that are being fully utilized, with support being provided to farmers in the area of branding and marketing by the new Guyana Marketing Corporation, an arm of the Ministry of Agriculture. Plans are now well advanced for the establishment of a regional ferry service that will facilitate a more reliable mode of transport and trade within the region. This initiative is being led by Trinidad and Tobago. The service will be known as the CARICOM Transport Ferry Service. On the legislative front, CARICOM states have been pushing the modernization of its laws to facilitate intra-regional trade in all of its forms, in keeping with one of the priority goals of Vision 25 by 2025. Recently, Guyana launched 2 important projects as part of its efforts in this regard. The projects are intended to enhance traceability for food products and achieve export certification for bovine and small ruminants. Execution of the development of a food products traceability system for pineapples and leafy greens in Guyana, and the bovine tuberculosis and bovine brucellosis to improve market access projects will be done through funding from the Caribbean Development Bank's Special Fund resources, totaling more than £500,000. on every front. It has been shoulders to the wheel, with CARICOM heads putting in the work in their respective states, ensuring that the resources are made available for the advancement of food production and trade is accelerated in all of its forms, with the ultimate goal of food and nutrition security for the CARICOM region, and in so doing, realize a 25% reduction in the food import bill by 2025, a saving of approximately $8 billion.